All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris. This is my channel, We Love Comics, and I got an interesting video that I am just going to say right off the bat. I hope you will listen with an open mind and not just automatically do the wrong thing, and that's dismiss something before you even give it an opportunity. Because like anything in life, if you just automatically dismiss something without hearing all sides, then you're never really truly growing, you're never truly learning anything. Because you can always learn things, even from an enemy. Sometimes you can learn what not to do. So I'm hoping people will listen to this and not just hate the title and give it a benefit, because I'm about to show you, through my own mistake, and I will take responsibility for that, the grade of a book that a couple of people were claiming to be controversial actually ends up being right, and I will explain the situation and also prove that they're not just doing favoritism, and also to make sure you check your books. Because full disclosure, this book I ended up, because I just assumed all the problems were described when I sent this in with the other books. It's the only one I did not open, and I'm going to show you how that cost me, but the grade that they gave was actually right. So I also want to remind people, I am selling some of my books. I did a video yesterday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time with some of the graded books. The ungraded books are the Sunday before that. Two of the graded books have already sold. The Dark Avengers #1 with the the 5 signatures and the 4 pieces of artwork is sold, and the Marvel Spotlight 5. So everything else is still available, so if you're interested, go check that out. Don't forget to sign up for the cashback program. If you sign up by clicking the link and you spend $25 or more within the first 90 days, and it doesn't have to be comics, it could be whatever they're affiliated with, you will get a $10 cashback bonus. Alright, so I see enough people are here, so wait until the end if you want today's surprise subscriber shout out. You do not have to be a subscriber, but you do have to be participating in the live chat, because I need to see who's in the live chat to pick the winner of the surprise subscriber shout out. And, you know, you're not really winning anything, but some people like it. Alright, so, as you can see, like I said, I took this out of the slab. This was one of the 4 books that I got back recently, and I'm going to show you. This was the grade PGX gave. Now, if you look here, might not focus. Alright, I'll read it. They gave it a 2.5 off-white to white pages, and it said copy of cover and page, and copy of cover and page 19/20 added to the book. Now, when I saw that, I assumed that meant these pages were missing and they were replaced with color copies. And everybody else assumed that as well and said, well, PGX got it wrong because this should be a restored comic. Well, here's what happened, and like I said, this is my fault, and this is why I encourage people to make sure you check your books. Normally I check them, but this last time, I don't remember, but I know I was really busy and I was just rushing them through, and this book I did not open. Now, when I cracked it open and checked inside, this is what I found. A color copy of page 19 and 20. Now, the original page is still there, so they just slipped this in for some reason. So, the book is 100% complete. The seller, or maybe who bought it, because the seller that I bought it from did not know about it either, somebody made a color copy of this one particular page and just slid it in when it didn't need to be. Now, to be fair, PGX saw this. They could have taken it out, but they didn't. So, can I blame them 100% for that? No, because it's not their obligation to fix your book if you did something stupid. And I will say, I actually did something stupid. I did not check. And by the way, for the people who love my cats, I just want to show really quick. Oregon, as soon as he heard me talking, he started meowing. And he wanted to come over, so he's spending time with me right now. So, there was also, and I threw it out, unfortunately, because remember I showed, well, there's a Hulk right there where the Hulk was. You could see through it. Well, they put a copy of the front cover, which you can obviously see is there. They put a copy of the cover behind this. So it was like this, another sheet of paper. So this book is 100% complete because page 19 and 20 is there. It's not detached. It's just a regular page like if you were to look through any book. But for some reason, they added an extra color copy. So when PGX graded this book, they mention that there is a, there you go, copy of the center, of the cover, and page 19/20, which is this. So that does not make the book qualified because nothing is missing. It doesn't make it restored because the page was not replaced. They just, somebody along the line added 2 color copies of things that were not necessary that I failed to look at, and literally just, it wasn't stapled, it wasn't anything, it was just loose. So all I had to do was take it out. So I will be getting this book regraded. So for those that want to bash a company, I mean, you have the right to do whatever you want. If it's based on your own personal experience, that's one thing. But if you're somebody that wants to just spread rumors or spread misinformation or just regurgitate what somebody else said because maybe it made sense to you without your own research, without your own experience, you're not helping the comic book community, comic book companies in general, and every company in the world makes mistakes. I mean, if you look at some of the major corporations that have criminal backgrounds, I mean, all you have to do is look at the banking section alone. If you see how many times they've been fined for being caught money laundering for drug dealers and things, and I'm not going to mention any companies, but you can do your own research, but I promise you, they are well-known banks. Companies do make mistakes. It's what you do from after you make mistakes that dictate where you go. But most people, they want to spend their whole life worrying about the past. If, like they say, you cannot, I mean, it's like beating up a dead horse. You know, you're not hurting a dead horse, it's already dead. But people spend their lives worrying about the past and what has already happened instead of worrying about how they can control what is about to happen. So, this book was graded properly. Now, you can debate whether it's a 2.5 or not, okay? Because grades are speculating based on people's opinion. I've seen other companies grade a book a 9.8 where it's clearly not a 9.8. I've seen videos where people sent in their book and said, you know, I'll be happy if this book comes back a 9.0 to a 9.2, and they're blown away by the fact that that company gave them a 9.8. But of course, they'll all take it. I've never seen anybody take one out. I constantly, as you can see, take books out that I think are not fair. That is how you show integrity in the comic book community. Whether you like PGX or not should be irrelevant to the situation at hand. And if you're unable to separate that, then you are not doing the community any favors. And you're just spreading negativity and hate and misinformation, which is one of the reasons why the world today is bat crap crazy. Because people are just regurgitating every rumor they hear. They do not do research. They just follow whatever scares the living daylights out of them because it's easier to regurgitate what somebody else said, even if it's wrong, than to take the time and effort to learn for yourself. So I will take my part of responsibility. I should have, like I always do, I should have opened this book and examined it. This particular time, I failed to do that. Well, there was a price to pay, because now I have to get it resent in, which means I have to spend more money to go get it sent out. So, that's on me. But, even though there are plenty of people that hate PGX and will never give them the benefit of the doubt, and they just regurgitate what everybody says, and they talk about a situation that actually is not what people claim it to be, because I've actually researched it deeper, this was graded correctly. Again, you could speculate whether it's a 2.5 or not, but It is not a restored book because nothing was restored. There were 2 color pieces added to it that did not enhance the book in any way, did not replace something that was missing. So the book is 100% complete with added bonuses that were absolutely ridiculous, but again, I will take responsibility for that. So I noticed there are only 13 likes. So most people that watch this are going to automatically see the title and automatically dismiss it. If those are the type of people you want to follow, who are not even brave enough to make their presence known, because hitting a thumbs down button without explaining why does nothing to help educate. I actually like it when people give me feedback that I can improve on my channel. Like, for example, and I won't mention any names, there was a person that told me that one of my video last night, I left the my email address on the whole time, and they said that was kind of frustrating. Now, they didn't call me a jerk, they didn't try and bash me, they just said, you know, I enjoy your content, but I found the constant leaving of your email address to be frustrating. I appreciate that, because then that makes me think, okay, next time if I sell comics and I'm doing the live show, I will not leave that there. So I learned how to improve based on somebody's feedback, although, you know, people can say, well, it's not complimentary. I don't need to be patted on the back. Because trust me, I've, not only with this channel, but my other channel, of some of the topics I've talked about over the years, I've gotten death threats and things just because of my right to have my own opinion. And there are people in this world that want to stifle people's opinions if it differs from theirs. If that's the world you want to live in, then please conform to that way of life. So, another reason that some people appreciate my videos is, yes, this is supposed to be just showing about how this grade was actually right. But I go into more philosophical things, things that can actually affect you in the rest of the world, which will benefit you, because you realize that most people in this world that are negative and angry and full of hate and full of fear, they stay that way. They never grow, they never change. 10 years from now, they'll be the same angry people if they do not face their inner demons. If you've been following my channel, and especially if you've been following me from my other channel, you will see that I was at a certain level at one point where I used to fight with people all the time. I used to get angry, I used to go back and forth, I used to try and convince people of my way being the right way, to now, I don't give a rat's behind what somebody else that's going to do nothing but say nasty things has to say. Because that is not somebody you can communicate with on an intellectual level. But those who appreciate that I'm showing what's going on, I'm not just saying, oh, hate a company because they did something wrong. Because technically, once I opened this, I found out that they were right. And for some reason, that's going to upset some people. Maybe because it's me that said it, or maybe because it's this company. Now, if this would have been one of the other 2 major companies, everyone would have applauded it. There's some hypocrisy, and that is not going to benefit you as a collector, because what certain people in this community do not understand, if you spread negativity, if you fight all the time, if you argue, if you try and hurt people just because they think differently from you, that is going to make people say, you know what? Enough is enough. I don't want to be in this community anymore. And maybe they give up collecting comics. And then maybe their friends give up collecting comics. And maybe it spreads that it's got such a bad taste in your mouth listening to some people on YouTube that they don't want to ever collect another comic again. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. Do you think that will help make the community stronger? Or do you think that will make the community weaker, which means it could affect future movies, future comic books, future characters, future storylines, etc., etc., etc. But unfortunately, there are a small group of people, and again, I'm not mentioning any names, that's not what this is about, that want to spread negativity and hatred and say, oh, it's either my way or no way, that are damaging the community so it hurts everybody. So you may not like PGX, and you have every right to not like them. But if you're basing it on rumors, other people's experiences, other people's research, other people's lies, other people's misinterpretations, other people's truths, and you do not base it on your own research, on your own experience, then you're not doing the community any justice. When PGX does wrong, I call them out. I like PGX because, not because I get paid by them, which I do not because I have the deal, which I made, by the way, and I also tried to contact CGC and CBCS. Neither one to this day ever responded to my request. PGX did. They listened to me, and their grades are pretty much spot on. But, like I said, this, when they graded it, they could have easily just taken it out. They didn't do that. Now, do they have to do that? No. Could they have done it? Considering that it was in the same page area where page 19 and 20 clearly was, maybe it's not their job, or maybe they don't care. Who knows? But my point is, this was not misgraded like many people thought. That's going to rub some feathers the wrong way. If you don't like it, that something ends up being right that from a company you, for whatever reason, choose to hate, you're not helping the community. Because if you keep that company down, and I'm not saying to not call out a company if they do wrong, but it's got to go both ways. You cannot bash PGX and then praise other companies even when they do mistakes. You can't ignore one and bash another, and then when PGX does something right, you can't just not give it the credit. But if another company does it right, you automatically praise them. See the hypocrisy in that? It's got to be both constant. If you cannot call out a company when they make a mistake, the company will never improve. Does that help the community or hurt the community? This is what most people just seem to not want to grasp. Because again, most people focus on the moment or the past. They don't think about the consequences of their actions or inactions. So that's another thing that I want to teach people when they come to my channel. If you want a comic book to be shown, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of channels to do that. If you want to come to a place that's going to have the best chance of integrity, it doesn't mean I'm perfect. I don't get everything right. I will make up, not make up, but I will mess up from time to time. I will get things wrong. I will make a prediction that does not come to fruition, or it changed. That's part of being human. We learn and grow from our mistakes. But I will give you information more than just, hey, look, here's an Avengers #1 comic. I'm going to tell you why it's significant. I'm going to tell you how much I paid for it. I'm going to tell you to make deals, to research. I'm going to tell you if a company does good or bad at that particular moment, whether I like them or not. And that's why I do not get paid by either Southside Comics or PGX, because if you get paid by a company, you have to sign a contract. When you sign a contract, you could be obligated to have to say something nice. And these companies understand, and that's another reason why I respect them both so much, is they understand that I am going to give an honest opinion. But who do you think you're going to get better information from? A person that's just going to say, oh, this is great, this is awesome, they never do wrong, they're always doing right, and oh, I'll take that grade even though it's not worth it. Do you think you're going to get the best information from that person who's clearly biased, or a person that's going to praise a company when they do something right, but also call out that same company if they do something wrong, but not kill them for the rest of their life because of that mistake? Because if you've never made a mistake in your life, you're probably not human. Everybody makes mistakes, whether intentional or accidental. And that's why before I got married and when I used to go on dates, I used to hate when people would say, they'd go up to a girl and say, you know what, baby, I love you, I would never hurt you. That is such a crock of you-know-what line. You know what I used to say? Is I cannot promise that I will never hurt you, but I can promise you I will never intentionally hurt you, because there's a difference. Intentional means you had intent to hurt somebody. But sometimes you could hurt somebody and not even realize you did it. There's a big difference. So people that like my channel, it's not because I get everything right. It's not because I say you have to follow my way, because I tell people all the time, think for yourself, do your own research. I do more than just show comics. I want a passion, but I also want an intelligence about it. I talk about investments, and how you have to be responsible for it. This whole world is trying to teach you that you are okay, good little dog, just sit at home, wear your muzzle, do what you're told, stay under house arrest, we'll take care of you, it's not your fault. Instead of the world saying, you know what, you have unlimited potential, you can do whatever your mind puts you to, and the only person in the world that can stop you is yourself, and if you want to be healthy, maybe you need to eat healthy, or maybe you need to exercise, or maybe you need to do the things that require effort and work to actually reap a reward. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to even just the situation that's going on in this life, I have breathing problems. I've had them since I was a baby. I've almost died 9 times. I have a video on this very channel of when I had to be carried by ambulance to the hospital for 5 days back in November when I first moved here in Florida, and basically was gonna die on my bathroom floor. I should be scared about what's going on. I've been unemployed for 4 months. And yet, I still not only survive, but I'm actually enjoying life. Because I see life for more than what the world is trying to portray it to be. Life is what you know it to be. And if everybody else is going to influence you on your life, well, whose fault is that if you allow it? It's like watching a movie. If you're watching a horror movie, that horror movie may be scary, but they're not going to come out of the screen and jump at you and kill you. But you can die of a heart attack watching it. So if you're a person that has heart problems, it would probably not be the wisest decision to watch a movie that could potentially make your heart not work right. But most people don't want to think anymore. They want the world to say, hey, don't worry, we'll take care of you. So you learn more here. So 26 people like this video. I can guarantee you there's going to be negativity. But you know what? I'm going to challenge anybody that decided I'm going to thumb down this video. I challenge you to put a comment in the comment section and to explain in an intellectual, adult fashion why you disagree. Put your name out there. Because if you just thumb down a video and you are too afraid to explain why, then your thumb down means nothing. And you give it no power because you're too afraid to stand by your own conviction. And despite the fact that so many people have problems with me, despite the negativity I've gotten over the years, despite the rumors and the accusations and the things about me, I stand here before you because I stand my ground, because I know in my heart that what works for me is because I chose it. Not because somebody else scared me, tricked me, convinced me, or said, oh, all the cool people are over here, so you have to be over here too if you want to be cool. No. If I consider myself to be cool, and I'm in my own little world, I didn't need somebody else to tell me I'm cool, or confident, or kind, or considerate. And you could be that way too. So, as usual, I will talk about comics, and then sometimes I will go on rants. Some people hate it. Some people love it. If you hate it, let's see if you're man enough or woman enough or adult enough to explain in a comment why you hated it. And let's see if you can do it without name-calling, without ridiculous thinking you're better because you said a nasty joke on a comment section. It's time the world grows up and takes responsibility, because when people bash a company and praise another, no matter what each company does, you're being a hypocrite, and you're not helping. So again, I don't claim to get everything right. I make mistakes. I will make mistakes. And I will own my mistakes. I will not cover them up. Why do you think 90% of my videos and 99% of the videos nowadays are live? Because you know what you can't do on a live video? You can't edit a video. You can't take out a word that wasn't said properly. You can't crack open a comic and cut out certain parts and maybe replace the book with something else because you cut away for a second. I do live for a reason. Because it is what it is. So I don't need to look fancy. I don't need to have a perfect background and a green screen. I don't need to put 17 hours of little nooks and crannies to make it look like some movie. If others want to do that, that's fine. But here's me, this is who I am, this is what I believe. You can agree, you can disagree, you can change your mind. You're welcome here as long as you are kind, respectful, polite, You can disagree, but if you disagree like a child, you know, you get what you give. If you go up to somebody on the street and you punch them in the face, do you think they're going to thank you, or do you think somebody might punch you back and somebody might beat you a lot worse? Well, if you got the worst end of a beating that you started, take responsibility for what you chose to do. Most people don't want to do that. Everybody these days, not everybody, but a lot of people in this world want to cry victim. Woe is me. Like I said, I've almost died 9 to 10 times. I have a video to prove it. I was on a breathing machine. They didn't know what was wrong with me. And that's just one of many times I've almost died in my life. So I should really be scared to death about what's going on in the world, and yet I refuse to even wear a mask. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that's fine. I don't care what you think if it's negative and hurtful. I will listen to a person's disagreement if it's respectful. You cannot have dialogue with name-calling. You could not learn from somebody through cursing or just thumbing down a video. And I've learned, not only can you learn things from your best friend, you can actually learn things from your worst enemy. And sometimes that's what not to do. That's why when any negative thing comes my way now, I say, what can I learn from that so I do not have to have it repeating itself? And if you have a life that is constantly repeating itself and it's making you unhappy, I ask you this: what are you doing to change that, to improve that? Crying, praying, hoping, wishing does nothing to change what you're doing. If you're standing on a train track and a train is coming, the smartest thing to do is get off your butt and walk off the track. Guess what? You won't be hit by the train. Go on that train track, and I don't recommend anybody do this, so please do not do it, because if you do it, you're an idiot. But if you were to stand on the train track and start crying and say, woe is me, that train's coming, and pray and hope and wish and dream, but don't move, you get run over. Is that the train's fault that you're an idiot? So, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for liking this video. I would love to see the proud power viewers who watch this from beginning to end. I would love to hear your opinions of what you think about my opinions. Again, I'm not saying you have to agree. I'm not saying I'm right. If I'm right for me, that's all that matters for me and those who agree. You can still be a subscriber here. You still can comment here. You still can watch my videos here with open arms, even if you disagree. But if you cannot be civil, that's when you exit. Simple as that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to my little preach. I hope you learned something from it. I will know by the comment section if you enjoyed it, because those that are kind and considerate and put out efforts to make things happen will leave comments. Some will not, and that is okay. So I hope you learned something from this. PGX was right. Some of you, that's a nasty pill to swallow. Sorry if that hurts your feelings. I hope you have a great day, and no, I'm not really sorry. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. I will see you next video.